Welcome to episode number 48 of the BEBC
BS
Podcast. Oh my gosh.
I'm emotionally spent.
Late night. I'm kvetched.
Yesterday was Friday the 13th.
Full moon.
Could it have
Full moon.
Harvest moon.
Oh, harvest moon.
Yes.
Wasn't that cool?
Yeah, it was really cool.
Did you see it from the plane?
It was
Or were you
huge.
driving?
Yes. No, it was huge.
Orange.
James flew in late.
Shine on.
Thank you, American Airlines. 2-hour delay. Awesome.
American Airlines.
No, it was
it
the
weather?
weather. It was the weather. So I can't blame God.
Where was the weather bad?
Charlotte.
Oh, it was in Charlotte?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, they won't let the ramp workers out when it's a lightning delay either.
Well,
So,
seriously, what's wrong with that?
Come on, be professional.
I'm telling you.
Well.
We're glad you made it for the fourth quarter anyways. You came flying in there.
midway in the third quarter. So which
The whole night has just blended.
And did you have trouble getting in the gate?
No, it was okay. I almost had trouble, but the nice gate lady let me in.
Which one was
The
that?
gatekeeper?
The gatekeeper. I think it was her name is Alice, and she's got stark white hair.
Yeah, I know
Oh,
Alice.
I know that one.
Yeah, she works at the restaurant on her off time.
Oh, does she?
Yeah,
The
she's a
cafe.
waitress. No.
What restaurant?
Alice.
Al's Diner.
Al's Diner. We digress.
That's all right,
Everybody
David.
our age will understand that. Anybody younger than 40 is like, what are they talking about? You know?
See, that's the thing. Kids these days don't have an appreciation for all the
don't.
stuff that we've
They
experienced.
do not.
They will, and they'll go, God, they were right.
What
They're
a-
not here for me to tell.
Weird night.
Oh,
And we'll get into the game here. We got some other stuff to do first. But I think after last week's game, James and I stayed late and watched the walking wounded come out of the field house last week. And you sort of have a premonition of next week might be a little different. And it certainly was. And we'll get into game talk and all that. But it was totally different. And it was just a strange day. Many things that went on. But we got a couple shout-outs.
Yeah, several.
Yeah, we do. And we had a really interesting tailgate yesterday, which is the last couple of weeks have been cool, and just people just show up and, asking random questions, and the next thing you know, they're at your tailgate and they hang out the rest of the day. And we had Chris from Massachusetts, who had Melissa from New York show up about 4:30, said, where can we get tickets? And we told him the whole situation, and so we said, Chris, where are you from? He goes, Massachusetts. I'm like, Massachusetts? He goes, yeah. He goes, I'm down here working for Toyota. But he's from Massachusetts.
Okay.
And he goes, all my coworkers, he goes, I wanted to go to a football game, and all my coworkers said, you need to go to Allen. You need to go to the Allen game. And so he had met Melissa out. That's how she, I said, where'd y'all meet? She goes, out. I think I know. Who knows where they met?
I knew he was a Northeasterner because of his T-shirt.
What did it say?
It was a school from the Northeast.
Oh, was it? I didn't even notice. So they came and they sat with us for a couple hours, and David gave them a couple tickets, so they sat up there with David last night, and it was their first Texas high school football game. And so they got to watch the band march over, and Chris goes, heck, my school didn't even have 800 kids, and so now you got an 800-member band. So I think they had a pretty cool, and it was homecoming, and they were, what are these mums?
All
They
the
had no
regalia.
idea what the mums were.
if you're not from Texas, you generally don't have an idea about that.
And he was all in too. He went and bought both of them bells at the at the fan shop.
Right through his nose.
I thought he was using your bells. I didn't know.
Oh
he
no!
went and bought some.
No, he went and bought bells, and he was screaming and yelling the whole time he was there. I
Was
mean,
he
I was
really?
just like, "Wow, this is really cool." He stands up, when
That's
we
our
all
kind of
stand
fan.
up for the kickoff, and he's standing up and yelling and clapping, and
cool.
he's just like grinning. And, hey, this is great, So they had a really good time.
That's awesome. So Chris and Melissa, come back. We'd love to have you again.
We need your spirit.
And she actually works for, remind me, what soccer?
Sting Soccer Club.
Sting Soccer Club. She was a soccer
Of North
player.
Texas.
So they came by and hung out. And that was pretty cool. So we were excited to have them. And then Alan and I are standing there. And these two older gentlemen, I say older, we're getting old too, but they were older than us.
Class of 73?
Crypt Keepers.
He was 73. His brother was class of 64.
For Allen?
No, they went to Garland.
Oh, okay.
And it was
okay.
John Bell and his brother David. David being the older brother, and it was David's first time to come to an Allen game, which was, I was like, really? I said, John, you've been coming for you. John's, and we didn't know him.
He moved.
They just
he
walked
moved to
up.
Allen in 80 something.
Yeah.
Okay.
He just
From
walked up and
Garland.
said, we're going to meet the Balding Eagles. And I was like, well, here's a couple of us. And he said, this is my brother was on the Garland state championship teams back-to-back 63, 64, 64, 65. And I was like, and so we started talking about how special that was to be on it. He goes, you didn't realize it at the time? He goes, but like 2-3 years later, this was David talking, you realize how cool that was to win the Texas State High School Football Championship. So we talked about that for a while. And then John told us, and this struck me because, he said, we love your podcast. And I was just like, because
He's obviously mentally
he fits
lacking.
right in with us.
Yes, there's nothing better to do.
But he did it. He goes, me and my wife, we listen every week. And my wife she has cancer and she's in hospice now. And she goes, it's tough for her. She can't get out anymore. And, we'll listen to your podcast and then we'll watch Tony LL120's video of the game a day or two later, and she gets to experience the game through y'all and
That's
Tony.
awesome.
And I was like, you know what?
That's great.
That's really cool. And I'm Susie. Bless your heart, and we're praying for you and thinking about you and John, and we just wanted to give you a special shout out for being a listener, and God bless you as you move forward. A up, girl. And but that's cool. And I told him, Tony had been at our tailgate early for about an hour, and I told John that I'd tell Tony, hey, you need to know, you're doing the video. Here's what's, you don't know it,
Right.
but here's what's going on behind the
how
scenes.
much that video means to somebody.
To somebody. So that's pretty cool. Again, Tony came by. He brought his girlfriend, Courtney. Bless her heart. She's been walking around on a torn ACL and meniscus for months, and she didn't even know it. She finally went to the doctor, and
The
she's gonna
doctor
have surgery coming soon.
No more monkeys jumping on the bed.
Yeah.
Is that how she did it?
Well, that indoor soccer, when you try to take on the biggest guy on the other team, what she said, didn't work out very well for her. But, she's fixing to have surgery, so heal quickly, Courtney, and take care of yourself. So it was just an interesting tailgate, all that going on, Thad cooked some great pork loin, grilled vegetables. We were high-fluting yesterday.
We were eating healthy.
I had to extend my pinky as I was eating that.
Yeah, it was high-fluting, it was healthy, and I was like, dang, we at South Lake or what?
Can you see how slim I am
No.
because of that? No, okay.
If we were South Lake, it would have been
Sushi.
pork loin sushi. Yeah,
well,
it's like
that might have been
I don't know that I've ever heard of that kind of
I'm
sushi
not sure
before.
I want a Georgia boy making pork loin sushi. Because that might be alligator gar out of
Yikes.
Trinity.
out of some river
Yeah,
out
the
there.
Trinity.
But no, he did a great job. It was awesome, and everybody. And we fed.
It was a good day. It didn't even rain.
Nah, didn't even rain.
Well,
So-
we did on Dave a little bit earlier in the day.
Early in the morning.
and it was homecoming on top of all that. So
Oh man, we got some great pictures of some of the cheerleaders and their moms. Had them come over and take little shots in front of the tent.
yeah, and we decided Molly needed to hire somebody to carry
Carry
her
her
mom with her.
mom.
Because seriously, this is no lie. Y'all can't see it. Her mom was that wide.
Huge.
And
I got a picture of it.
David's got a pic. David can show the camera.
Oh, yeah.
It's about
Yeah.
the same size as that trout that I was battling for hours.
Yeah, right.
About that same size.
Oh, and the other thing for homecoming, if you haven't seen the video from the pep rally,
So
that's a thing to go out to
Oh, the
Facebook and check
Talonets?
out. Yeah, the Talonets and their
Keep going up,
neon
man.
show.
Keep going.
Keep going.
Let it. Keep going. You can get right up to it, David. There you go.
Right there.
They're perfect.
Wow,
Right in the center is Molly's mom.
thing is
Thing's
huge. Shout out Molly.
Yeah, the Talonets did a great neon glow in the dark routine.
Yeah, for
Oh,
the
that was
pep
awesome.
rally.
Yeah. So big day in Allen yesterday, and we're going to start off before we talk football. We got one more shout out, and I wore this shirt in honor of the Allen High School student section.
Wow.
Because, Lord have mercy. There you go. Stand your nose out. Stand your nose.
Way to go. Way to go.
3 weeks in a row now. And last night was awesome. They were red, white, and blue theme.
Showed up in mass, all the numbers.
And they stayed.
For the whole game.
The whole game.
And they were loud. And they were involved.
Proud.
Coordinated.
And
Whoever's doing the coordinating, keep doing it.
They outdid Coppell's student section, which honestly
Kick
has
Coppell
typically
student
been
section's butt.
one of the best.
Yeah.
Exactly. End of the game, they turned down the lights, and I think they were turn out the lights.
Yeah.
Party's over.
Party's over. It was awesome to see look down in the end zone.
And have all those all the lights going.
It was cool. And hats off to y'all. I mean, that was awesome.
I've never been more impressed with the student section than I have been this year.
Yeah, so keep it up. And I know this, and we challenge you every week. It's an away game this week, but it's 5 miles away.
5 miles.
And it's Plano.
It's Eagle Stadium South. Come on.
Yeah.
It's our stadium.
It's our home stadium.
It's a
We
quick
own it.
Carpool. Let us know if you need a ride. We'll come get you.
We'll do a shuttle service.
There you go.
Yeah.
You all can sit on Mark's trailer.
We can be your Uber. There you go. We'll do a hayride from Allen to Plano. We'll be your Uber drivers for the night, whatever. But yeah, great job by those guys. And again, and the players, you can see them feeding off of
Well,
it.
the players
They love it.
love it, love it, love it.
And the ROTC again. I mean, they still there, do a great job. I love watching them do the push-ups in the end zone. Got a cheerleader involved last night doing them too. And then the mascots got down there and tried to do it. They rolled over.
Rolled over like they were tired.
That was after 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can't see that from where we sit, but that's good to know. That's why the different perspectives are good. So
Yeah.
Our northeastern visitors, as they're marching through the parking lot into the stadium, they stood and turned around like, what in the heck is this? To
Yep.
see these
the ROTC kids.
ROTC kids marching through, with the, what do you call that, drill sergeant,
Yeah, barking off
barking out the
cadence.
cadence, and all that. To me, this is all this atmosphere that truly does make Allen the Friday Night Live experience to go to.
And we had a new group of tailgaters right across the parking lot from
We
us.
did. Bunch of high
And
school
went and challenged them, say, hey, is this a one-time thing because of homecoming? Or is this, oh, no, we're in for the long haul. I went, okay, great.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you. Let me pass on a word of advice to y'all. Don't drive your trucks on the grass. That will get you in trouble.
Spit up the sod.
Yeah, that didn't go.
Do we dare call it sod?
Well, it was dirt, but they were digging a hole over
Okay.
there. So
But that's what we need, more people
public service
tailgating.
announcement.
Yeah.
Yeah, just trying
Word
to
to
keep
the
y'all
wise.
safe, so anyhow, so that was a pregame.
What a great day.
It was. It was awesome. And then we get to play football.
Or whatever that was.
And I'm going to go get a drink, and James is going to take over for a moment. So
We'll lead in here, and so
gonna clean his
transitioning
nose.
from shout outs to football. Mark mentioned it about last week and how we stayed a little bit late, and there were a lot of players coming out with ice on their shoulders, ankles, knees, and toes, and
Knees and toes.
knees and toes. And so we knew this week was going to be interesting. It was going to be challenging. There were probably going to be some players that were, if not out, for a longer time, were at least going to be out for this next pre-district game, because as you go in priority, winning is important. Winning district is probably more important. Winning each 1-0 playoff game is even more important than that to get to the state championship. But you've got to have those levels and those goals, and so you're going to hold out some of the players that need to rest for a week, and hopefully they don't need to rest for 2 weeks. But so Raylan was out this week, and we had a new quarterback come in. But this is situations that not only test the team as far as will they come together and will they do what they do in practice, do your job, as Coach Gamble says, and are they going to be able to do that? And then it's a big stage, and even though who's our number 5 quarterback? Help me out here.
Drew.
Yeah, Drew. We love you, Drew. So, but this was Drew's
New
first
Drew.
time on the big stage in Allen, even though he was a starter with Coppell last year. So it's a different situation, and the pressure is on. But these are the situations that test the team. They test the coaching staff, because now you've got to adjust. Raylan and Drew are absolute opposites.
Mm-hmm.
And so you really got to retool your game to try and figure out, okay, is this going to work? Is that going to work? But it tests it. And then probably the most testing thing is it tests the patience and the stamina of the fan base. But
Dude,
That was
you weren't even at the game,
very politically correct.
and that is probably the truest statement I heard all night.
He could see what was going on at 34,000 feet.
well, and I'm telling you, I'm listening to the old coach. So I spent $5 for 30 minutes of
There you go.
airtime.
$5.
And as we're flying over, I'm thinking, are we going to go past where I can see the stadium? Because it's like, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up.
Yep.
And sure enough, there it is.
Drop
Probably
me off here.
About 5 miles to the south of the plane.
Should've jumped
There's
out
the
right
stadium,
there.
and I can see. So I took some pictures. They came out a little grainy, but
Yeah.
and I'm listening to it, and that's what I'm feeling is I need to temper my emotions and my criticism, whatever, because this is a test, and they're going to have to adjust. They're going to have to figure out what works. The thing I've never understood from football perspective is how much adjustment goes on before halftime, because it seems like all this major adjustment happens at halftime. I'm sure there's some aspects that you can't get everybody together until halftime, but it was definitely a little bit different, and you guys can talk more about that because you saw the first half. So it's a test. I think we're in the midst of trying to pass that test still, but
Well, Drew did come by after the tailgate. I mean, after the
Yeah, it was
game
good
last
seeing him.
night, and I mean, walked right up to us.
yeah.
And
We did
we
get to
asked
talk
him.
to him for a minute. Yeah,
Yeah,
Big Red.
Big Red.
yeah, we'll get into what he said to us in a little bit, but we can start with the game, and it was an interesting game, and again,
It was an interesting first play.
we have our opinions on what we see and how things happen, and that's
We haven't seen the first play like
but
that.
we don't
before,
have.
have
And I told somebody this
Us?
yesterday because we forgot to mention one other shout out that we had another listener come by, and it was a sophomore linebacker. Skylar Ball came by, and he said, "My dad told me I needed to meet you guys." Like, your dad? He goes, "Yeah." He goes,
Must not be a very good father.
"Yeah, we need parental." His dad listens to the podcast, and he goes, "You need to listen to the podcast of these guys. You might learn something." And he goes, I learned something from you guys." I'm like, "Oh my Lord,
Oh my
I don't
God.
know what."
What could
He's
you
warped.
possibly
Well,
learn?
sure aren't, but he came by, and I totally forgot where I was going with all this. But a shout out to Bill Ball and Skylar Ball for coming by and saying hello.
Like the Lord of the Rings, Bill Ball,
No.
Baggins.
No,
I don't know
That's
anything
the
about
same
Lord
guy?
of the Rings.
no.
So
Okay.
anyhow, but it was like we said. I think everybody who plays Allen has now watched the film of the first two games. Because
Yeah.
what does Coppell do on the first play?
Yeah.
Deep ball.
Go yard.
Launch.
Yard.
Deep to the right. It seems where it's always to the right. It seems like maybe I'm wrong on that, but it's to the right, and they get a big long completion and scroll down and it eventually end up kicking a field goal. They go up 3-0, and you're like, okay, well. And then what Allen started doing, and I know the coaches, this is probably their plan. They were alternating quarterbacks between Showalter and Cerniglia, probably trying to figure out, okay,
Two sticks.
who's going to stick, who's going to be better. And they both had their ups and downs in the first quarter. And it got to be late in the first quarter, and Coppell punted, and I turned to Allen, and I said, "You know what? Things aren't going great right now. I know they're trying things." I said, "We just need somebody to bust a big play. We need a home run." 15 seconds later, handoff to Selden Manning. This is no lie. 15 seconds. 78 yards down the sideline, and you're like, I looked at Allen, I was like, told ya. Got the big play, and Allen goes up 7-3, and you're like, okay, there you go. You've got your big play.
He answered.
You've got the team realizing, okay, we can do this.
Right.
You
We're
know.
not going to get into a hole.
No, because you had an interception. Previously, you were driving previously, and you had an interception down on about the 15 or 20 yard line, which, it happens.
Takes the
And
air out, but
it
yeah,
did,
you got to
'cause you
recover.
were driving, you thought, okay, we've got something going on here, and then you had a turnover, and so the team gets that. Coppell, second quarter comes along, it's back and forth. They kick another field goal at 7-6, and You're like, okay, how do you respond to that? And you had a drive, and you hand it off to the other running back, Jordan Johnson, who, and I just looked it up, for the season, Selden is averaging 7.8 yards per carry, and Jordan's averaging 8.2, which, it's only 3 games. It's not a huge sample size, but it's a pretty
impressive.
good sample size against 2 really good teams and one
Medium.
Coppell is who Coppell is. I think they're down a little bit this year in my estimation too, but still, you got running backs that are averaging both 8 yards a carry. You give it to Jordan. He scores from 20 yards out, 14-6, and you're feeling okay. Feeling pretty good. 4 minutes left in the half. You're up 14-6. You seem to have found a little bit of a rhythm. Your defense is playing great. And you've still got turnovers happening. Because on the night you had 4. And then I just went totally blank here.
Well, here's the deal. If you turn the ball over, if you don't win the turnover battle, if you turn the ball over 4 times and you still win the game, even though it's by 1 touchdown, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Because that's almost a recipe for a loss.
Yeah.
Turning it over 4
I don't know
times.
what the percentage. Maybe it's 80% of the time. If you have that, if you look at the turnover ratio, you're gonna say, "Oh, well, that team lost."
Well, and I think Terry said that on our podcast with him about the turnovers. If you win the turnovers, you win. And then, Cedar Hill, we lost the turnover battle, and you won the game.
Right.
Dickinson, you won the turnover battle, but you have 4 turnovers last night, and you win. You got to thank you, Lord, and move on.
Yeah.
And I, on the board this week, Steve DeWitt posted after last week's game, and he goes, "All I can say about the game and Allen is 2-0."
Yeah.
And I responded to him. I said, "If that was your only thought, But I kind of felt that way last night.
Yeah. 3-0.
You're 3-0. What more could you ask for? How you got there is up for debate and discussion. And
Well, but that's like life. It's the journey.
Yeah, and it's been a journey.
We should write a country and western song about that.
And unlike a lot of other teams, we play a strong out of district schedule too. Cedar Hill,
you did this year.
A storied game there.
Yep.
Coppell's always been
Tough.
a good program and played us tough. And then Dickinson,
They had some
a
fantastic
state-ranked team
too.
Well,
comes in. So
Speaking of Cedar Hill, not to totally go into left field, but I'm going to.
Chill, brother.
So,
Chill, brother.
the Ball brothers that come over to talk to us were talking about how they were sitting on that side of the field, and 2 Cedar Hill coaches got into a physical fight
With each other?
during our
Yes.
game.
yeah, we
So
missed that.
If anybody
They asked
saw
us
that,
about it.
yeah, they asked us if we saw it, and we're like, "No, I missed that." He goes, "They had a physical fight on the sideline during the game."
Wow.
And
They
I'm
were
like,
arguing and they ended up fighting each other. What the heck?
Maybe that was to distract our SROs.
You stole my play I was going to send in.
Whatever happened there.
That's crazy.
So much is going on in this house that we have
Yeah,
built.
and if we have any Cedar Hill fans that kind of know the backstory, private messages.
Yeah, we'd like to know what's going on there. 'Cause
We're curious.
folks like that.
We want to know.
it's crazy.
It's drama. But it's not our drama, so it's even better.
Drama.
It's like the dad who wandered out on the field.
Oh my gosh, you're
2 years
bringing that up.
Coppell.
Was that a Coppell?
Coppell?
Yeah.
Everything crazy that happens to us happens with Coppell.
Let's talk about that. The last team to beat us.
Coppell,
Coppell.
2012.
Regular season
2012.
Coppell.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So there was a lot like that. So
Okay,
we're
sorry.
up 14-6. Just before the half, Coppell, beautiful pass. It was a great pass. Should have been a flag on the play. I was screaming because the kid in motion turned upfield.
Before the snap.
He didn't turn upfield.
It was
He did the
just a-
CFL angle upfield.
Oh.
And the linesman standing right there, and I guess he was looking at the line, not the kid in motion, because he did the curving.
Kind of like the California people that make that right turn to a stop. Supposed to stop on red and take
I
a right.
resemble that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he certainly was going angled upfield. Should have been a flag. Wasn't a flag. They threw a touchdown pass. So you're tied at 14 at the half, and you go, ugh. And Coppell gets the ball to start the second half.
How do you go?
Ugh.
EWWWWW.
Because, again, you had I'll just say an atypical, non-typical Allen first half. But then again, and I think Thad said this to you, you've got 17 new starters this year. And of the 17 new starters this year, you have several who are not playing, one of them being your critical quarterback position tonight.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of things working against you. How do you overcome? What do you do to overcome? And I think what the coaches decided at halftime, based upon the play calling to start the second half, Coppell got the ball, had to punt, and then it was giving Thad credit, what he loves, it was ground and pound.
Yeah.
And the boys up front started laying the weight on the Coppell defense.
There were some nice gaps in that second half. The
There
part
were.
that I got to see, the second part of the third quarter.
And
Yeah.
the play calling shifted from let's get the ball out to let's run the ball. And you started pounding Selden and you started pounding Jordan. And the next thing you know, it's like, but in the middle of all that, you throw in, you get them 8 in the box because you're starting to pound them. And then what do you know? The post to Bryson's open, on a real long. And you could just see it all shifting.
Right.
And you're like, okay, great. And so Selden ends up getting another touchdown. You're up 21-14. End of the third quarter, you're like, I'm feeling a lot better. Defense is still playing lights out.
Defense, they go gang tackle better than I've ever seen an Allen team do before. They will not let anybody cross that line without
This
6 or 7
year's
people on them.
team is going to spoil us.
Yeah,
as far as how well they
are
tackle.
lights out, all of them.
They do. How many missed tackles?
Brandon Manning,
Yeah.
all of them.
Or when you lay hands on. Now there are missed tackles where they're like fingertips away from them, but that's
There's
Something-
not
That's a
a
different
whole lot of
matter.
people breaking
You're
tackles.
talking about
That's right.
fingertips away. There's several field goals that we've almost blocked.
yeah.
Just
Keep
within
waiting
an
for that to
inch. I
happen.
know he feels the air go by his fingers every time he's there. It's only a matter of time he's going to get there.
Norman's close. He's
Yeah.
coming around
And
the
as
edge.
far as X's and O's goes, that's what they were taking away from us in the first half, is that they had the safeties playing deep wide. And you saw they brought the linebackers outside linebackers really far out to take away any of that bubble screen stuff.
Well, the bubble screen, and when we had the ball going in motion with a running back, they were shutting that down for exactly the way you described as well.
All of that, and that's what
Yeah.
they were not going to let us go deep with the outside receivers. And that's what they were shutting us down on
That's why the post worked
at
so
the beginning.
well.
And Selden, and the student section was yelling out, Selden, Selden, Selden. And if he is not the one of the biggest beasts that I've ever, for such a little guy, and being a Ford Mustang tough,
There you go.
he runs and he twists and turns
And gives it every
more
bit.
than anybody that I've seen, and has people hanging onto the back of his jersey, and he still drags them forward.
And reaches-
he always leans forward. He ends
That
the
is
play
the key to me.
going
He
forward.
falls forward.
Man, he's
you
what
don't
a
see
stud.
Selden going backwards.
what a stud.
What was his numbers for the MVP of the game?
Selden ended up with 26 carries for 246 yards.
Wow. Wow.
And you didn't see that. You're like, oh, he's run a lot.
I thought he was like 160, 170. And I keep forgetting he had a 78-yarder to begin with.
Right.
But, yeah, 26 for 246.
And Johnson's a great compliment to that too.
Oh yeah.
You never know who's gonna. They're both in there. You don't know who's
I
going to.
love that.
I know.
He's
Those
got a
two in
little
the
bit more
backfield.
bursty
Yeah.
speed, but great yardage per carry.
They're just, he is.
Yeah, because Jordan ended
Man.
up with, I think, 82
Did he break?
yards.
Oh, he didn't break 100. Okay,
No,
good.
he didn't quite.
Perfect
They both-
compliment, though.
They both have
90,
great
92
breakaway speed.
yards.
92.
12 for 92.
Okay.
So, Selden ended up with 3 touchdowns. Jordan had 1. And so in a night where you were breaking in a new quarterback and they were getting their first test of live action
Yeah.
when it really, really mattered, Selden said, get on, let's ride.
Let's go.
And he did. And the good, kudos to the coaches for recognizing that and riding that horse.
Kind of like Brock in the state championship game. Kind of like Ward,
Yeah.
against
Marcus
DeSoto.
Ward. Marcus
Oh my
Ward.
gosh.
Yeah.
Always going forward. Always
Yeah.
with that forward angle. Yeah.
So 337 rushing yards last night on 47 attempts, 7.2 yards per rush. And David and I were talking at breakfast this morning. The quarterbacks, they rotated, and Showalter played some in the first half, and then it seemed like Drew took over. But at the end of the night, if you didn't know about the picks, there were 3 of them, you look at the stats, they were 12 of 17. And I think you said it earlier, because that was, Tisdale stats last year, 12 of 17. Or you said it, and you're like, for 134 yards, you almost have 471 yards of total offense. Should have maybe generated some more points, but again, you go up 21-14 starting the fourth quarter, you think, okay, we got this, defense still playing great. And then one of the stranger plays that
squeeze
that
play
happened in a while. And I think, and again, I may not know, but I think it was the same play that Jordan scored on last week against Dickinson, the sweep around the right. And I watched it, and he goes, and you see the hole, and I said, okay, it's going to be a short game.
2 Coppell players hit him at the same time.
And he's running the other way.
And all of a sudden I hear the crowd, and I turn back, and 45's going that way. What happened?
There was not a beat missed.
No.
The 2 Coppell players, 45 being one of them, came in, hit him at the same time, and when they hit him, he had ripped the ball out and just not a step miss, went the other way.
Well, I'll
with
take
the ball.
that.
Yeah, and he
I'll
did.
take that.
It's like he handed it off to him.
You look up now, and with 7 minutes left in the game, you're tied at 21, and you're like, it's Friday the 13th. All this weird stuff's happening. How did this happen? You turn around and go, it's 21-21, and you're like, okay, kids that are playing, here's your chance to respond.
That's right.
And by golly, guess what they did?
They responded big time.
And how many teams with 4 turnovers are going to be able to come back and win that game?
Yeah.
So that's a great testimony to the coaches and what they did and the players and stepping up.
They get to midfield, 1st and 10, which gets to 4th and 2. You have to call a timeout. And I'm like, man, give the ball to Selden. I mean, that's what I'm thinking. Give the ball to Selden. He's been a beast, and they can't stop him. And the coaches called a bubble screen.
Yeah, to Bryson.
To Bryson Green. And
Fought.
you talk about effort.
Fought.
Because when he caught the ball, he had a ways to go, and he also had somebody right on him.
Yeah.
And he fought through it, and he stretched, and he leaned. And I don't know if you saw, Neil Fonville has a great picture of that play.
Yeah.
That he posted on Facebook last night of Bryson stretching.
Yomp to.
And he got it.
Yeah.
And I texted Brian Green at that moment. I said, give that boy a hug for me.
Big time players make big time plays in big time games.
It was a 4th down, and with probably 4 minutes left in the game, and if you didn't make it, you're giving them the ball at the 40-yard line.
Right.
And it looked like
opening
he was
the
gonna
door.
be short.
Yeah, and he fought through it, and he made the first down, and you're like, whew, we live to fight another day. And so off they went, and they get down, and it's Selden ended up having a 17-yard touchdown run with 2 minutes left.
Yeah.
You sigh of relief and say, okay, defense, it's up to you.
And then what does the student section do to respond to that?
Who's your daddy? There came that one out. You're like, oh my gosh! But on that series where Coppell was trying to score, the Prophet shows up on 3rd down.
Yeah.
Gets his hands up, knocks down a pass. And the pressure.
Almost intercepted.
Yeah, and then 4th down. Did he get sacked on 4th down, or did he throw it away? I can't remember what the 4th down was. My mind's.
I think he passed, and it was really short.
Because on 2nd down, wasn't that where Colin Prince almost intercepted?
Yes.
If he was an inch taller,
Yes.
Right.
because he got his hands on it and knocked it down. And then Fish knocked the one down on 3rd down. And then the 4th down winner, and Allen takes over and wins the game.
Yeah.
One question I had, because I was just thinking about it, about the quarterback play, and this maybe go back to the offensive line. Were there any sacks last night on Allen quarterbacks? I remember it being pretty clean for the most part.
I think
Did Showalter get sacked once?
he got sacked once.
And Drew did one once also, because I can remember
When we
they
had,
kind of bent him in half, and I thought, God,
Okay.
that's
there
the
was
same
one,
guys.
and there was one kind of fumbled snap where they had to drop on the ball.
That I don't
Yeah.
count as a sack.
Yeah.
That's,
Okay.
well, and Showalter had 3 for -11, so he obviously had some
Yeah.
behind the line of scrimmage stuff. But for the most part, the quarterback stayed pretty clean,
Right.
and you rushed for 371 yards.
So that says a lot about the offensive line. They're
337,
gelling.
excuse me.
Penalties.
knocked them down this week.
We only had
5.
5.
Yep.
Which
That's
a heck of a
was
lot
it
better
15?
than 10 or 12.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one of them was a personal foul.
Yeah, what did he do? I missed that. He got really upset about it.
I think there was some.
He ripped at the ball, but it was after the whistle, and
And they got in each other's face,
and I think he might have been
continued
the
to
one
talk.
to say something. But yeah, so you had 4 false start penalties after that.
Yeah.
One of them was on the defense. Well, I guess those are offsetted, so that one didn't count. And how can you make that call? Dave and I were talking about this morning too, about where Coppell had been penalized for imitating the snap.
Right.
signals.
And so Coppell's down on the 5-yard line, Allen's 5-yard line, about trying to score, and they false start. The line judge on the right side throws the flag, walks in. I see him, he's doing this, and he tells the official that. The official starts to call, and the other guy comes in from the, and I don't know if it's him or the umpire. And then they have a discussion, and they call offsetting penalties. One being Allen for imitating the snap count. I'm like, all right, wait, I'm confused.
Yeah.
If we were imitating the snap count, that negates their false start.
Right.
That
You can't have
have both.
Right.
I don't know how that again.
okay, so here's the referee crew having their after meeting. We screwed that call up. Right?
Well, maybe they did, maybe they did. I don't know how you can have both, because if we were doing that, that's the penalty, and their false start doesn't count.
Yeah.
And if they false started, well, it was just weird.
The
Because
only thing I thought was they had the false start first, and then we imitated the snap, and somebody else jumped. That's the only way I could see that happening.
that was really weird. Which
They were an interesting crew.
it was the next, and that was a critical play, because the next play, Coppell scores, but their whole left side of their line had jumped, and everybody saw that, and so it was a 5 yards back, and they went for it on 4th down and
Got it.
didn't get it. So.
Didn't get it. Okay.
Yeah.
No, they got sacked
threw
on
it to
that.
the right to 24, and he slipped and fell
Oh,
down.
that's right, he did fall.
And Norman was there and covered that, and I thought for
Pancake
sure
him.
they were going to call a totally
Pass interference.
pancake.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to throw a
But he was
PI
already on the
that.
ground.
He was on the
Yeah.
ground, yeah, and he got up all mad, and you're like, dude, you were on the ground, you fell. And he did fall, he just slipped and fell.
Yeah.
But, so that they win 28-21. Homecoming's happy, everybody's happy. Off they go.
The ugliest game ever played in Eagle Stadium.
It's
What
up.
was it
It's up
not?
there in the
I mean,
top 10
I mean, it was
ugliest.
ugly.
Probably the top 5 ugliest games. I can remember some ugly ones.
The close call with
Plano, 1 year.
The Plano with
Okay, that was ugly
Chance
too.
Malone
35, 34.
knocking down that 2-point
Yeah,
conversion. for the
again, that
win.
was a team that to me shouldn't have never been in that position.
Right.
Yeah.
And that is a warning to the team. I know the coaches know this, but Plano next week, you cannot let them in because they're coming off the big thump chest in victory against Rowlett, and you can't take them for granted.
And the 5A team in El Paso.
Yes.
Yeah, but
yes.
you got to look in Plano's mindset. You think, okay, we've righted the ship. From our thumping by Hebron, we've righted the ship.
Oh yeah.
We know what's going on. We got it figured out. They're 2-1, which is, they probably thought they'd be 3-0, but 2-1.
Yeah.
They're probably happy with it.
I thought they were going to throw that.
Overall,
Paso game.
nail biting, satisfying win. Again, a lot of teaching moments, and I was going to say we talk about Drew later. Drew came out afterwards and came and talked to us, and I said, "How
What'd
was
you
it?"
learn?
I said, "Was there a lot of smack talking going on?" Because the student section for Coppell even started, "We want Drew, which was great, and they got him, and there he was, and so you got to be careful what you ask for. But I said, "How was it?" He goes, "Yeah, there was a lot of smack talking." He goes, "But it was fun." He goes, "I learned a lot." And for him just to come out and say that, because, he had 2 picks on the night, but he was 10 of 13. Other than that, pretty efficient. And he was figuring things out as the game went on, So, but he said, "I learned a lot." And so you like hearing that.
Because that's what Coach Gamble preaches is
He's a better.
how are you going to get better?
He's a better quarterback
Each
today
day
for
get
what
better,
happened
each week
yesterday.
get better.
Absolutely. And you don't think he's going
Yeah.
to be sitting there looking at film all day today, wincing at some of the things that he might
He'll be-
have done
he'll
wrong?
be doing better at practice.
Whoa, I'm not going
Right.
to do that again.
Yeah.
And it's cool because because we always go back to the Kyler days, the days of glory.
Yeah.
If Kyler went down in a game,
Yeah.
who was his backup?
Hoogie was for one season.
Hoogie, and all Hoogie really liked to do was
Run
grab the
over
ball
people.
and just run over
Run.
people. But how well would he have done?
Yeah.
You know, if Kyler went down. And that's the thing that's so great is for a team full of young players, in their minds, they have to be so much more confident today than they were yesterday morning.
Yeah.
It's like, well, we can do this. We can.
And
Zeke can come up and slug people in the face, metaphorically speaking.
holy moly! Shout out to Zayteek McGee last night. Not only did he come up, and a couple people had the guy stood up, and he came flying in,
Pile drived him.
drove the pile back, and then went out the other side. I was like, what
Yeah,
just happened?
he was 5 yards past the pile that he drove backwards.
He did. And he like,
You know.
I was like, Zayteek, dude, that was awesome.
And I do have to, because of my refined nature, and because I'm culturally so much higher than all of you, and because I am paying homage to Raylan
Cowboy.
Sharp,
There you go, Mr. Boot.
and doing this is because it has that beautiful plastic bottom. Jordan Johnson running down the sideline, and what does he do?
There you go.
Man, I
Let me
hope I
get out of
don't
the
fall
way.
on my face.
Yeah, do not.
He's running down. What does he do?
He does the pirouette, baby.
There's the pirouette on the sideline and just kept going. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
he stepped out of bounds. But that was the I am too pretty to play football award right there.
I can't wait to
Sure.
see Tony's video of that.
I know, my gosh, that was so beautiful.
Because if he hadn't stepped out of bounds, I guess he did get caught.
He did get caught.
Yeah, but it was 30 yards down
yeah,
the field.
yeah, he was almost to the end zone.
The
But
boy
oh my
must have taken ballet,
gosh,
my friend. It was awesome.
Baryshnikov.
There he
I
is.
can't do a Russian accent. That's what it was total
Yeah.
It
Baryshnikov.
was cool.
Pirouette.
Kid's got
Do
some
guys do pirouettes?
skill. Yeah,
Ballet?
man. Come on.
It's a
Wait,
move.
I have the culture and I don't
It's a
even-
move.
Anyway, okay, that's all I got there.
So, a look around the district last night. Plano wins big over Rowlett,
Yeah.
which was to be expected.
Plano's unstoppable, man.
Really? You really think
This
so?
is the year.
I don't know. Prosper had an interesting
Wow.
game last night because they were playing Flower Mound, who a lot of people are high on this year.
Yeah.
And a lot of people thought that was going to
High
be a
on
close
Flower.
game. And, it wasn't. And Prosper just went, bat crazy on those guys.
They stomped them.
Yeah, it was ended up being
50-some.
55-34, but it wasn't nearly that close because when I looked at halftime, I'm going to pull up the box score here real quick.
Yep.
Whoop, sorry. That's Keller Ridge. I don't want that game.
Yep.
Y'all banter for a second here.
Who are they?
Yep. So Boyd lost. Who did Boyd lose to?
Louisville.
Louisville,
Yeah.
which our old homie Talon,
Green.
is over there. So good.
He's
Good on
3-0.
him. Good on him.
That'd be horrible if we happen to match up in the playoffs.
Boyd needs to
Could be
step it up
interesting.
starting this week.
No doubt. But McKinney and Coach Shavers, good job, Coach Shavers.
Did they win last night?
They posted a win last night. And let's
Good
see
for him.
who else is in. Jesuit.
Jesuit
They
had
won big.
31-10.
Yeah. So that's going to be an interesting matchup. We'll see what EJ Smith can do against our defense.
Oh, third game in a row.
Yeah.
Defense hasn't allowed over 100 yards rushing.
Yeah.
That's right.
And Highland Park lost.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's too bad.
Yeah.
So,
Prosper
it was a sexy loss,
How,
though.
how many more students are you going to get rid of now to go down to 4A?
Prosper was up 36-0 at halftime.
Yeah.
That's the score I saw. I was like, now you ended up winning 57-34. So,
So the backup influence had to be in there
Kicked
in the
in,
second
yeah.
half. Yeah.
but it's
And you just take each game one at a time. But that matchup is looming.
Yeah.
and it's way down,
Down
the
the
road, way down the road. But that's okay. Plano East,
Whatever.
Poor
Man.
Plano East.
I have no idea what's going on.
It's karma. It's what they deserve.
They played Saxe last
Is that
night.
the coach?
Got beat 36-14.
Yep.
And you're like, what's going on with East? Because East was better last year. You know,
Yeah.
and it seems like something's going on the offensive side of the ball. because they've scored 42 points in 3 games, so they're averaging 14 a game.
Yeah.
You're not going to win a lot of games averaging 14 points a game.
Well, and we've seen what one player, the impact of one player can have on a team and your ability to do things. So it's a challenge. I mean, how many of us would be up for the challenge of coaching a 6A, Texas high school football team with all of that going on?
We all think we can, but we don't.
Well, something we didn't mention, that we mentioned last night after the game, was Coppell's attendance. It was rivaling Plano West.
Plano West-ish, yeah.
It was really poor.
And the student section was the smallest I think I've ever seen it.
Well, you take away baby powder, and what's left?
Yeah.
What can they do?
They were all at home talcuming their underarm.
Yeah, they were very
It was a non-factor.
I mean, other than you can't do that, and
all
why
their
are you so
horns,
quiet?
Yeah, all their horns and stuff they had before, and we play them, and I always touted them for being a great student section.
I was really looking forward to what they were going to do.
Their band, though, does seem bigger and better and
their band's really good
this year than it has in past years.
I still want to know, and I want somebody who...
Cedar Hills band was better, though.
More entertaining, but from a quality of sound...
Yeah.
I don't know what they do, and I really do want somebody in an Allen band, Obato or whoever, to let me know how a smaller band can be louder,
a bigger sound.
And they were awesome last night. I looked at you and I was like, oh, and she goes, what is? I'm like, yeah, you can just tell the difference, and you're like, why is that? Mm-hmm. What causes that? Are you telling? Again, I don't know. I'm just saying they were much more sound efficient and louder than our band was.
Yeah,
half the size, and you wonder how that happens and what's going on.
You do realize that that's blasphemy to say such a thing.
I know it is, but I want an explanation.
We're just curious,
right?
I'm not criticizing.
And it can be in private.
I'm just asking, yeah. It's a good question.
Yeah.
Speaking of Plano West in attendance, Plano West took on our old buddy Fleener last night, the Mesquite Skeeters.
And?
Talk to me. I haven't seen this.
48-21. The Skeeters, who are now 3-0, put it on Plano West.
So Jeff, you have reached another hurdle, crossed another hurdle.
Yep.
You have beaten Plano West.
There you go, bro. So...
Talk about the epitome of, or the
epitome of low hurdles.
Hey,
sorry.
I look at this. Mesquite scored 21, 37, and 48 points. Now, honestly, next week they have a very entertaining game or interesting game for me.
Yeah.
Because we criticized Coppell. Actually, not Coppell. Who was it? Plano East. I'm losing. Hang on. I'll take you just a second.
Don't lose it.
So this is the takeaway from this, kids. When you get old, your memory is going to go. It just happens. You have brain freezes. I was going to say the F word, but
in Dave Campbell's
freezes
thing, the bio on Plano West, before this season, they were on a 26-game losing streak,
and it's now 29.
Oh my gosh!
New head coach,
LD Bell.
It's a building year
because LD Bell beat Plano East.
That's right.
They lost to Coppell by 7. And then they beat Irvin MacArthur last night. And so next week they have Mesquite. So I'm wondering...
Ooh, that could be an interesting matchup.
Yeah, LD Bell gonna because I'm wondering, are they better? Because I thought Plano East... LD Bell typically has been a homecoming game schedule for a lot of people, And so maybe LD Bell's picked up some. Yet to be seen. They play Coppell.
They're still in Trinity's district, right?
Yeah, they play Trinity in 2 weeks. But they got Mesquite next week, so Flano might have his hands full there, but... Yeah, Allen next week.
Yeah, we're going to Allen Stadium South.
We're going south. First road game of the year. 5 miles away.
Let's travel well, please. Student section, you have got to show up for this game.
Yeah, again, we challenged them earlier. We'll do it again. Student section, show up. Do what you do. It's awesome. The kids love it. We as fans and the parents and
thrilling.
adults love
Absolute
seeing that
thrilling.
because y'all are having fun. It's great. It's entertaining, and it's fun to watch.
Who's ever leading that whole thing, keep it up.
Yeah, fill up a whole section of the stadium. We'll sit right in the middle of it.
Yeah, we'll come
be
down.
part of it.
We'll come down and do a Facebook Live right there in the middle of the stadium
absolutely.
section. So y'all do that. We'll have fun with it because y'all were awesome and do it again. So 7 o'clock next Friday night. District play starts. Go 1-0, as Gamble would say.
Yeah.
And it's Plano, and
First game of the season next week.
they'll be hyped. Everybody's hyped to play Allen, and they certainly will, coming off two back-to-back victories. They think they've got it figured out, so we'll see. So
And we know what the first play will be.
we know what Plano's first play will be. Yeah.
Well, and so here's what we got to do. We got to put a safety about 30 yards back.
Just have somebody go and sit down on the 5-yard line.
How about not let them get off the line?
Yeah. We'll figure something out. Kane will work. I mean, they've seen it 3 weeks in a row.
It's their
now.
test, and it's like it would not have. No, not in district.
Again, it's all fixable.
Yeah.
It's all. It's not
That's
like
it.
you got a bunch of crippled kids back here that can't run. That's why it happens. It's all fixable. So, they're not.
What?
The broken leg kids aren't playing.
That's correct.
They're staying at home.
That's correct.
Oh. Anything else, fellas?
Well, that's about it. I think the media is recrowning South Lake Carroll by some of the comments.
Did they win last night?
Yeah.
Or did they play today? I know they played Permian, but I haven't seen the score.
They played last night.
I think they wiped the floor with Permian.
That was out
They did.
there.
It was bad.
Yeah,
It was
it was
36-7
ugly.
or something like
North
that.
Shore escapes by the skin of their teeth last night. Kicks a field goal with 2 seconds left to win.
Wow.
Yeah.
So maybe they're not as.
Friday the 13th.
But Duncanville's riding high, man.
They got an interesting game today because they're playing that St. John's out of D.C.
Oh, that's right. It'll be a
private
challenge.
School. It's kind of like an IMG of the North. So
Is that on TV anywhere?
not that I know of.
Okay.
But we'll check and see.
Yeah.
We can figure it out. So
That's at St. John. Didn't they beat us out for national champions one year?
I have no idea. I don't pay
Yeah.
I think it was
attention to
St. John's something. There's several of them.
St.
I
John's
think.
Bosco might have out of California.
Well, there's St. John Bosco. There's John Bosco, which is out of New Jersey.
It's crazy.
And there's Bilbo Baggins Bosco.
Bosco.
He's everywhere. He is everywhere.
Lord of the Rings, baby. Lord of the Rings. Well, folks, hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for listening. And until next time, it's over and we're out.